All right, welcome back to the Panther. Been getting some progress in. So right now I've got about half of it weathered and working on starting the other half. But I wanted to share with you quick. Let me get this camera down. Share with you quick some of the different techniques. So on this one, it had some panel lines, which are great, but some of them got filled in when we redid. I don't know, this is probably the second major paint job on this plane. So I did find out the history on this one. So anyways, it's quite the extensive history, but some of the panel lines did get filled in. We didn't do a ton of work trying to get them unfilled. And so I'm coming back and just using a simple technique of a little pencil. And this one's a little bit fatter lead at 0.7. So it's a little bit thicker and leaves a lot more lead and carbon behind. So that's kind of nice, graphite rather. And anyways, you can come in here and do some of these different panel lines. And just to kind of give you some demonstration here, this is actually a really good panel line. So what I'll try to do is get right in the actual crease of the panel line. So, and again, these things weren't perfect. And what's nice about the graphite is just a little bit of water here. And you can really work this in and then feather it out as in the panel lines until you'll get this kind of nice panel line. And I'll come back and do some more airbrushing on top of this, but even with the graphite in there, you can really get a nice feel. So, and just like any panel line, sometimes you could see them, sometimes you couldn't. Sometimes there's a lot of dirt and grease and grime in it, and sometimes there's not. So it's more of an art when you're going through, and if I'll see something that I don't like, at this stage, I'm just using acrylic paints. It's what I like to use for weathering. And then we're gonna clear it all with a satin finish with the class coat. So anyways, just wanted to give you a quick tutorial. So I'm just finishing up. I got most of the front done, which is nice. I'm gonna show you one more time there. Did a lot more around a lot of these high maintenance areas. So there's some panel lines around the cockpit and stuff. So just kind of filling in stuff that we didn't have with the original fiberglass kit, and then coming back and doing some more. So like here, there's a little detail here that I'll probably share with you there. So these are nice little areas where you can fill in and really kind of, you see the panel line there, but you don't see it come up. So I'll come in and just hit that a little bit. And sometimes. And again, come back and work that in. So this was a really dirty area, this whole entire section here. So I'll be coming back and getting the other side I got going. But anyways, just finishing up here on the tail. We'll get some of this going. And then we'll be on to airbrush in short order. All right, guys. Another cool little technique. A lot of people do this, but using Post-it notes. This is a little vent of some sort. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but we're gonna make it look like a vent because there were some louvers of some sort. So I'm just surrounding this little vent, and then we're gonna shade in with the airbrush. Some lines here, so I'll show you how to do it. Pretty simple technique, but it gives a pretty cool effect. So we surround it all off, super simple. At the bottom one. And I go to the next line. So let's see what that looks like. The good thing with acrylic paint is you can take all that back off if you don't want. Actually, that kind of helped quite a bit right there. So some kind of circle that popped up. So that's odd. But anyways, a nice little effect there. I'm gonna come back. Hit this. Bottom one more time. There we go. Again, if you don't like it, you can kind of wipe it back off. I can take some isopropyl or some thinner and take this completely clean again. So the base coat isn't going to have any effect. So yeah, so I can really come in here and do some more stuff. Add a little bit more grime here. This was a pretty dirty spot. A lot of maintenance here. Same with the fuel area down here. Canopy. There's a line there. All right, and then take a little bit of my thinner for acrylic. And I like using this technique where it's just a little bit of a paper towel and you just soak it just damp enough where you could start blotting it, and this will give the effect of just handprints and grime over time, and it's not just like this gradient type of effect. It actually looks like a whole bunch of old handprints and a guy that had his hands dirty with some grease and he's holding stuff. So it really does a nice job. And again, if you don't like it, you can start wiping it away. If I want to clean this spot up, I can wipe that down. Or maybe I want to clean this spot up here, I can wipe that away. So now I get this kind of a little bit cleaner look, but still dirty. If I feel like that's too much, I can come back here and really start wiping that down. Obviously more thinner is going to take away more. You may want to switch rags with a cleaner rag, because obviously you'll just be applying more pigment. But to me, that looks pretty good. So you get this kind of really muddled look. And again, this is where, you know, the crew has been coming up, servicing the airplane. Yeah, so anyways, nice little technique to get those louvers in there. I got one more to do here. So this is about as heavy as I'm gonna go. Again, a lot of maintenance here. You guys coming up, servicing stuff, they'd walk, touch all this, go on the wing here, back and forth. This is where they would refuel, different things here. So a lot of dirt, a lot of grime there. And you can see some of the photos I'll show, kind of indicate a lot of that right here. So outside of that, you know, these planes are probably washed and cleaned pretty regularly. These were just training, but they did sit outside. So depending on what time of the year and time of the season, you know, they might be more dirty than others. So again, this is about as dirty as I want to go. So usually it's, if you think it's too much, it's probably well be more than you need. So I got one more little louver spot back here and a few more things in the tail end that I'm going to do. But for the most part, that's it for the top side. I'll do some, take that back, I'll do some more streaking in here. So to kind of match the other side, some more of a wash. So I'll do that here shortly. Pan back here, so I'll still got to do some more here. But outside of that, get a little more here on the fuel tip tank. So here I'm applying some wash. Again, the technique that I like to use is just whatever paint I'm using, and this is an acrylic black brown wash. And so again, I'll thin it out quite a bit so it's really runny, or if you streak on a cup, I always like to bring it up and just see, and as long as there's not a hard opaque surface there, we're good. So I'll let it kind of sit there, some of that pigment will stay there, and then I'll start coming in and do a little bit of a wash. And again, depending on how much pigment you got, some of it will stay, others will kind of come away. So again, not a ton here, but I'm just a little gently. And this is nice because it also creates some layers to the dirt and the grime. So again, on this panel line here, and then this one here, and I'll just simply take that super light. And again, my wash is a little bit thinner than I usually would go, but again, you can start layering some of that. So if that is the case, then you can come back and add a little bit more paint and just get a little bit more. Always safer to go thin first. If it's not enough, then you can come back. So again, just super light brush strokes just to get some of the streaking, just indicating. Some in-flight dirt flying back. Another technique too you can do is simply just let it sit there, and that will kind of give the effect of a dried puddle of whatever liquid, dirt and grime. And that's kind of a nice way to do it too. And then you'll get these kind of, again, layers of just filth, which is nice. I feel like that's good for me. You know, again, some of these panel lines. If you ever go on a flight, I like doing this. It's weird as it is, but if I'm flying on commercial, I'll take pictures of the panel lines in the wings and just kind of see what some of those panel lines are doing. And you know, it's super subtle, but just like that little bit there really indicates what the real one would do. So again, just put a little bit there, and it's really subtle, just nice little bits of wash coming back on some of these panels. I can't see what I'm doing. Move it down here. There we go. So again, as I was saying, just a little bit. And just a slight pull back there. And that's it. And you can see just that little tiny bit does a lot. And again, this is just my little bit of a wash. Sometimes you can go with your finger if the paint's thick enough, but that usually pulls a lot away. So, but I just like doing a little bit here and there. And again, never uniform. It's just always a little tiny bit here and there. So again, nice little technique to use. Put a little more there. I'll say that there's some there. A little bit bigger streak. So I'll come back, do that kind of throughout. So we'll hit some of this up here, right there. Imagine there's 3 hinge points on the wing. A lot of stuff here with guys coming out on the edge and surfacing the wingtip tanks. Again, I'm just gonna go pretty heavy on this stuff. Again, most of the stuff you're gonna wash away. So again, super lightweight, almost just not even touching it. And there you go. Boom. Less is more. it's really hard because it's fun to do. So once you get in the mode of doing this, it's kind of fun. So, however, you can get carried away really quick. So you just gotta be careful. And a lot of times I'll come back and catch myself actually pulling a lot more off. So these areas got pretty dirty, so I'm gonna go pretty heavy on these. Most of this you're not even going to see, because that max flap you'll probably be about that. So I think that's a pretty good look, and then when it's up, it's really not terrible. So come back, wipe that off, which is nice. So got a little bit too heavy there, came back. There we go. All right, another area here. And again, when I'm doing this, I'm hitting this piece of paper, and then that overspray is going to spread over. So just don't spray the gray part, but you want to spray the paper itself and just hit that line. So that line. That's it. I'll go to the next bar. Right there. Go to the next one. Next one. There you go. And then cool little effect there. And come back. Again, when I kind of layering in, I'll just hit some of this. I'll do a technique where I'm just kind of dapping it. Get a light, the paint going in the gun. And again, by light, I mean just that instead of that. So just a light spray just to keep it going, and then as I'm going, coming in, I'm doing these spots. So that kind of gives these layers of just patches of dirt. And again, lots of heat back here, lots of dirt, lots of exhaust kind of billowing out. So a lot of blowback and things that are probably gonna have to get touched. And again, lots of hands back here. Probably wouldn't be pushing too much back here, but moving there, playing around, there may be guys pushing this area. And then I'll do the blotch technique now that it's kind of set a little bit. So now at the blotch, here's the static vent. So obviously service and check that. But now you kind of got this. Sometimes I'll bunch it up just to get a different look. And again, if it's too much and I'm like, clean that area off. Clean that area. And I feel like I'm pretty good there. Sometimes when I'm looking at these airplanes, you think that they are so big and, you know, like someone would never touch this, but I think most of the guys that were standing on this on the ground probably are hitting about right here. So this wasn't, I think it was only 12 feet tall at the very top. So this is all area that someone would be touching and servicing. So again, I'm not really like that too much there. So just gonna wipe all that away. Sometimes when I'm cleaning up stuff, if you wipe in one direction, always good to kind of wipe the other way, which is nice. So you're not getting too much of a streak. And again, if you do want that streak effect, which makes sense, you can just pull it back, right, in the direction of the airflow, which is not a bad technique either, to get some of those in. But sometimes it's just nice to get all kind of different directions. And again, make sure if you get a spot and you want to really get rid of some stuff, take a clean spot. So I clean that front edge there on that panel line. There's just dirt on the back side. There we go. Take a little more off here. There, that's good. I like it. Some dirt down here. Next thing is going to be flipping over and doing the belly, which is really fun because now you get into a lot of different colors as you have the hydraulic fluids, the fuel, the grease and oils all dripping to the bottom. So we'll get into some more of that soon.
So here's a photo of a Cougar, a little bit later model, but you can see the grease and grime and some of the different colors on the bottom. And here's a schematic, just kind of referencing some of the fuel tanks internally.
All right, here is the flip side, the bottom, the belly of the Panther. So this is, again, what I enjoy the most is really using the artistic abilities I have to replicate the weathering. So just want to point out a few things. Again, obviously the bottom usually gets a little bit more dirty. Everything's leaking, gravity's pulling, taking effect. So I did about the same as the top, and then obviously some heavy areas right here where the engine is. It's fuel, grease, hydraulic fluid, all that kind of stuff. So couple different techniques I like using is obviously changing up some of the colors, depending on what years and so forth. And someone can probably correct me, but hydraulic fluids are usually like a yellow or a red. Aviation, I think mostly red, but anyways, when it's against a red or a white background, sometimes it'll yellow. So anyways, I like using a little bit of yellow, tan, brown kind of mix that I make, as well as a transparent red. That usually works well and gives a nice effect here. So then I'll again layer it with different spots, blotching it, thinning it down. You can see here, it's a couple. So anyways, not entirely sure what that hatch was, but I know there's a hydraulic system right here for the air rams, for the air brakes. So assuming that this might have been an access for hydraulic fluid. When you look at some photos, I did find a few, I'll see if I can put them in the video, that had kind of a yellow hue. Again, not really good photos, but I figure that could have been a hydraulic access point. And then of course some hydraulic leaks and so forth from the rams that are pressing those air brakes. And from some of the history stuff that I did watch, they actually use those air brakes quite a bit. So and this isn't probably a scale position either, but this is a fun technique. So I just crinkled up the tape, but just used the hole punch, which came out to be pretty close size. This is the overflow for the fuel. So this is actually a hole there, hard to tell from the video, or even in person, but matched up pretty close, 1/4-inch holes here. And these are just tapes on a piece of masking tape that I taped and then just masked it off and went all the way across. So, and again, just panel lines with pencil, and yeah, that kind of came out pretty good. So you're not going to see it very often, but you'll get a glimpse of it from the side view as you're looking. And then actually these are speed brakes here, warning signs. So anyways, I thought it would be cool, nice little addition. Hopefully you like that, Mike. But anyways, just wanted to show you guys the back end. Again, lots of good photos of this stuff, and it's just lots of dirt and streaking back. So spark plug access, fuel filter access, and I think there was some oil or drains as well. So I got a lot of that. Outside of that, it's pretty straightforward. So just wanted to give you one more look. I did some wash here up front. Not a lot of stuff up front, just besides right where a lot of the maintenance was. Again, really lightweight wash, just to give some effect. And dirtied up the fuel tanks on the outside. So that's it in a nutshell. It's ready to clear. I got the clear catalyzing or inducting right now, and yeah, we'll go from there. So on the red, just one more note here, the red, I do go a little bit darker. It's harder to see, so I end up usually going a little bit darker. Here's a spot with a pretty dark wash here that, again, multiple layers, so you're not just getting one, you're doing multiple layers. I really like that technique of going over top, because obviously there was multiple stains or pools that dried up, and so you'll have that. And a lot of times when the airplane did get washed, there's probably someone not underneath washing it very well. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, pretty pleased with it. You always wonder if is it too much, but I think we're gonna go with this, and yeah, it should be good. So the top sides I'm pretty comfortable with, but anyways, that in a nutshell. We'll get some final photos here shortly.
So here's some testing on the clear coat. These were the gear doors. So did a quick test, just to make sure everything was good. Clear coat went on very well, had no issues, and it's pretty straightforward. This is a semi-gloss, or sorry, a satin that I did a little bit heavier just to get a little bit more of a semi-gloss, as these planes were. All right, guys, that wraps up the F9F Panther paint series, part 4. Here's some incredible photos at the end, and can't wait to see this thing fly in person. Here's a photo of Mike and I as I was handing this off, delivering the plane. He also sent me a couple photos of him finishing out the build. Here's the retracts, the engine bay without the fuel tank, just getting everything buttoned up. A special thanks to Roy, who helped out, and the consultant Mike and I on the project. And then finally, here's Mike with the F9F at the flying field for the maiden flight. Hopefully have the videos this spring of some amazing F9F Panther flight. Take care, guys. Like and subscribe and share the video.